Hello and welcome to Mana and Artifact. So Mana and Artifact is a magic mod that allows you to use magic from different factions. And it's a little bit different of how you use the magic and how to start the mod. So the first thing that you need to do to get into the mod is to get Vintium ore. Now after getting Vintium ore, you wanna do two things. One, either you find a village like this one for example here, and you will find these houses that have these mana artifact things, and you can take all of these items because they're gonna be useful and the villagers, or force it. Now the reason that you do that is that you want to find this villager. By trading with this villager some Vintium ingot, these Vintium ingot you make by Vintium dust that you so you take the ore, you burn it, you get dust, you put the dust with the Vintium with the iron ingot, turn it into Vintium colored iron. You burn that in a furnace and you get the Vintium ingots that you can trade for the Codex. So the Codex Arcane is the book for the mod. It tells you everything about the mod and it grows while you grow. Now, or you have another option of forcing this villager by having a rune forge in front of a villager that will give you the same thing. Right? So when you open the book, the mod will start talking about different things. Is the Manaweaving and talk about things that you can find in the villages and different things, and it will tell you about the Oculus and how to use the codex. So the first thing that you want to make is something called Oculus, and the reason that you want to make the Oculus is that it's the essential item to make in the mod, and it's such a cool way of playing a magic mod. So to make the Oculus you need some Vintium dust and glass, a table that you can make simply with all of these materials. Now the Oculus is the way you play the mod. So by clicking the Oculus it will tell you information about yourself and about the mod. So the first thing it will tell you that you're tier 1 and complete 10 of these tasks, 10 of these 12 tasks to advance to the next tier. So it turns the mod into like some sort of like a quest system that you can do things. So it kind of explains to you what the things you want to do, and it teaches you about the mod. And then by looking at the Oculus it will also tell you the tier 1 things that you can do. So this are the tier 1 rituals, mana weaving patterns, everything that about the mod that you can do from tier 1, and some things aren't tier 1. Now but by getting the Oculus it will start telling you that you want to do these different things to advance in Mana and Artifact. So the first thing that you want to make is make a rune forge. Now the rune forge is used to turn bone into something called bone ash. So by just putting it here it will turn bone ash, and it will turn different items in the future. So to make the rune forge you will need stone here and glyphs. These glyphs you make by turning stone, any different type of stone. So you have stone, andesite, all of these different things will turn into it, and there you can make the forge, which will make you something like one edge. And the best part is that something like the forge doesn't take one item, it takes about 15 items at a time. Since I'm a creative you won't know this, but when it's done you will know. Now now you made the rune forge, you can start making different items. So the first thing you want to make is something called the Manaweaving altar, right? So the Manaweaving altar, the way it works is that it asks you to have a Manaweaving wand. So to make a Manaweaving wand you will need some sticks and Vintium ingot and Vintium dust. By making that wand here you will unlock the shapes that you can make. So by drawing normally different shapes you can make the shapes, and these shapes are gonna be what is gonna be the way to activate anything that you do in the mod. So the first thing that you can do the Manaweaving wand on its own is something called a cantrip. So a cantrip is that if you do specific formations in a row on its own it will do spells. So there is the first thing it will do ignite and gas, so clears out grass, snow and everything, or you can use ignite. So to use ignite for example, all you want is a square and then followed by a triangle, not like this, a square followed by a triangle, and it will ignite something. It will take a few seconds to cast, so it's really cool. Now you made that, you can use the Manaweaving altar. So the Manaweaving altar, it will be the way that you use recipes. So like anything you want to make. So for example, the item that I want to make, one of the items that you want to make to upgrade to next tier, and that's something called an Elder Feather. So it will tell you about the ender feather, how to use it, and the recipe for it. So the recipe for it is that you need ender pearl, feather, string, black dye, stick, and purified Ventium dust, and some shapes that you wanna do to activate this, to activate it. So all of these items are simple. So stick, the stick here, ender pearl, feather, string, dust, and the purified Ventium. Now by putting all of these in an order, the order which they asked me for, and using the correct shapes, where is the Manaweaving one? So the ender one, let's see, just, you can also bin items here. So like if I go here and I want to make this, I can just bin it to the next. You can bin anything. So now I can see the items and I can see the order. I didn't put the same order, and it wants me to do a triangle. You see that it put a triangle, then a square. Now it wants another triangle, but what if I made a wrong shape? If I made another square, I don't want that. If I right click with the Manaweaving one, it will remove the last one that I put, and it wants another triangle, and it will start doing it. Now I didn't put the same order because the order doesn't matter. I was testing it while doing it. So now you got something called, for example, the Ender Charm. The Ender Charm is a very essential item you want to make early on, because that Ender Charm is where it will lead you to your bed. So if I right click it, it will teleport me to my bed. It's a one-time use, it will break if you're not in creative. After you're done with a spell, unbin it, done. You're done with it. Now one of the items that we made is the dust, the purified Ventium dust. How to make that dust? So that dust consists of two different dusts. So the first thing is the Ventium dust and the flowers from the mod. So these flowers, you can find them around in the world normally. And another something called an arcane ash, which will be very important in few seconds. So the arcane ash, to make an arcane ash, you will need to put it in a rune forge, and you need something called an arcane compound. To make that, you will need Ventium dust, bone ash, which we made from the rune forge with the bone, and some Mana and Artifice flowers. Okay, now you made all of these items. You can start crafting with the altar. And the altar is very simple and it's really cool, and you can also automate it in a lot of different ways for the shapes if you get bored of drawing the shape. You made your altar. Now you wanna start casting your first spells. Now to cast a spell, you will need to make a table for it. So to make the table for casting spells or making spells, it will be some stone, some wood here, planks and slabs, book, and the carpet. It is a very simple thing to make. It's because it's an add-on. Okay, so now you made it. You want to add 3 items to start crafting a spell. So the first thing they will tell you is that you want to make ink. So this ink is made from ink sac, some glass, flowers, and the purified Ventium dust that we just talked about, the arcane compound which we already talked about, and the vellum. So the vellum is a new way to write your spells on, and the mod talks about is that to make it, you need to soak leather in water. So if you get a piece of leather and right click that piece of leather in water, it will turn into vellum, and that's what you use to write your spell. So now when you write a spell, you will have, as you can see, a spell in this mod is also similar to other mods. You need to create a spell by 3 things. You have the first thing is how you're gonna cast the spell itself, and the add-ons. We don't have any add-ons since we're still in level 1. So when you make a spell, let's say I make myself glow. Where is glow? Light. Here, light. So this spell will need 4 ink. So it will need four of these. It's not that 1 ink, the whole thing, it will just need 4 of it. So that's like a percentage of it. It will need 2 of the leather and 2 of the arcane. And it will also here have something called requirements. So these requirements here are flower, Ventium, torch. You need to have them in your inventory, an armor stand, a book, right? And then you make it. It will take time to make. When you click here, it will start filling up the bar until it makes it, and it will use these items that you have. Since I'm creative, it will make it for me. Now I made my first spell. If you right click the spell first time, it will tell you about, you can name your spell here. So if I can name it whatever I want. So like, let's say call it light, since it's a light spell, and then we use an icon for it from all of these cool icons, so it's just to feel like you're customizing your own thing, right? So I'm just gonna put anything here, this one. It's not like a really, so this spell, for example, it will make me glow. So as you can see, it makes me look really cool. A glow plus my already really cool armor, and that's how you make it. Now the book, now for the Oculus itself, it will ask you to make a complexity 15. What is a complexity 15? Is that when you make a spell, depending on what you make, you make a complexity. So starting, you start with 5. So let's say I put self here, that doesn't add in the complexity, you see. But if I put touch, no complexity, so you don't have any complexity, as you can see, still 5. But if I put fire, for example, that makes it 15. If I put break, that makes it 9. So you want to make something, for example, 15, so you can put touch on fire. So anything you touch, you will put in fire. Name it anything and touch, and you put it in fire. And you see how my hand looks like? It's like really cool to have your hand like glowing fire like this. Alright, so that's how you create spell. And now the spells in early on are not the strongest thing because you don't have really casting things around, but you have a very good tier 1 spells that will help you. You can summon an anvil, so you don't have to create an anvil. You can summon a pack, shear, exchange. You have a lot of really cool things to make your life a lot easier in tier 1. Now you made all of these, you're almost done with tier 1. The only thing that you didn't get introduced to in tier 1 is something called the rituals. Now in this mod there's a lot of different rituals, and the way that the rituals work is that you have two things. You have to draw this ritual first with the shock that you can craft by simply flint, dust, paper, and bone ash. Now you made your shock here. Let's make one. You can draw the circle. So drawing the circle, you can draw these by just right clicking any open area, and you can break it if you want, but it will take a little bit of time. So like if I go to survival here, so if I draw something here, I want to break it. It will take a few seconds. It won't break instantly. But it will still break. You don't need. It won't be that hot. Now you look at your rituals. For example, you will see early on it will be maybe a little bit hard for you to make rituals. It will feel like it's too hard. Maybe some of them are a bit like the arcane one. It looks very big, but it's like you simply need to look at it from like one side. So it's gonna be 9 by 9. Just start your formation and you continue from there. So I'm gonna make a very simple spell that you can utilize early on. It's a really cool spell for early on. The Ritual of Aura, and this ritual will turn night to day, so it only works in night and it will turn it into day. Only be formed at night or during a thunderstorm. So this ritual, it's a 3x3, so you just want give me a shock please. So you want 1 2 3 1 2. Now you want a dust to activate it. So the dust you're going to be using to activate is the Purified Ventium dust. So this dust is we already talked about. It's a very simple dust to make right now. So you want this dust, you right click the center, and you want to fulfill the items it will ask you. So in here it asks you for wool, any color for wool, it will work. So here we put I want to actually put the same color just for future reference. Alright, so right now if I put another Ventium dust, it will activate. But before doing that, I want to get some more Ventium dust. Before doing that, I will talk about something a little bit different. It's an early on, but it's a very important item to know about from here. It's called a pouch. So this pouch, I already have one here, but I can get another one. So this pouch, you make, it's a very simple item. It's very easy early on to make, and by making this pouch, you can remember spell. So if I get my new pouch, this one for example, the one I just made, and I right click here. I right click here, the center. Okay, sneak and right click. It memorized it. So if I press Z, I can see the spells that I found. So this is the ritual that I found. So this one will need blue wool, right? So I want to give it blue wool. And if I go to night here, so time set night. So if I go to night here and I try to perform the spell, it will tell me that pouch doesn't have enough items. So what am I missing here is the Ventium that requires to do that spell, and shock. What else do you need? So everything is good. So it needs the Ventium, the shock, and the same. So this spell for early on it will be a bit confusing because it will need the same exact color. It wouldn't work. The spell would work with any color, and you do that here. And now the spell will work. Now another spell like this one that you want to activate normally, you just need to put Ventium on it again after starting. It won't consume. It will consume one, I think, one at the beginning and one at the end. And you do the spell. Now the spell, this one is useless. I used 2 at the same night, so it will only make it night, but that doesn't affect it. Alright, so now you've done all of these rituals. You know how to make rituals, spells, and the same idea. So the rituals in the future will be the same thing. You put the same information, you put this Ventium in the middle, it will show you what items it needs, you put it. You've done all of these things, you wanna finish all of the spells you want. So we created a Manaweaving, a Ventium wand, altar, a spell complexity, craft the table. All of these things didn't happen to me since I'm using creative, but you can do all of these and then increase your mana. So to increase your mana, if you see my mana at level 15, which is maximum for tier 1, if you will to be level 1, the more mana you use, the higher your level goes. So as you can see, the blue line under, this blue line indicates what mana, what the XP I have to increase to level 2. Now I keep using spells until I reach level 15. You can use anything. You can you simply spam something like glow or any spell that you want, and use your mana over and over. You've done all of that. You completed all of your spells. So let's say I've completed everything. I've completed everything here. It will tell you advance by resting. So now you want to advance to the next tier. So it will tell you how to advance. So this one, it will advance by resting at a bed and meditating on it. What you have learned. So it has to be at night again, and I go sleep, and now I'm trying to advance to tier 2. Now I have reached tier 2. I right click and it will tell me about that I need to do 11 things out of 14. Now tier 2 is so much fun because they introduce you to so many things. So let's start talk about tier 2. So tier 2, there's a lot of different items. The first thing that you can do is the cantrip. So by control and right click, I can see that I have made new spell. So here is one called clears out water centered on use, and here's another one that removes harmful magical effects such as poison and great against witches. So it's a really cool spell. So it will need a circle and a triangle. Did I make it, or did I blow it up? A circle and a triangle, and now I'm clearing all the things, and that's just simply the can. So that's a very simple things to me. One of the items that it will tell you to make is a magic broom. So you think a magic broom would help you to fly? No, it's not. So a magic broom, you use it from the altar, and you're using new constellations, by the way. So you're doing new shapes. Here, where are the Manaweaving patterns? Manaweaving. So tier 2 it will unlock new shapes. It might be a little bit harder, but you know. So you can make a magic broom. So the magic broom, as I showed, it's a simple item, but yet it's so good. So a magic broom, the way it works is that if I make a magic broom here and I right click it to a chest like the one I have here already, I'll just do it further on. If I right click it to a chest, you can think about it. It will just see the items, go pick it up, put it in the chest. So it's a very simple way to automate, and it has a good range. So it's really good that you can make a very simple item that can auto pick items around you. So it's a really great way to utilize it. Now after that, the mana crystal, which is a very essential item to make. As you can see, I have mana region 4 on me. That's 5 on me, and the way that you make it is making mana fragments. So you can already make mana fragments that you can fill, mana crystal fragments that is used by the gems. Remember the gems that I talked about earlier, the ones that you get from different ores and gems and emeralds and stuff like that? That's how you make it. So you make it by a Manaweaving one, and here is like the way that we're like the table is really good, easy to repeat. So just get the items enough to make 8 of these. Like, so you want here what, how many? 1 2 3, that's 6, that's 8. So you want 8 and you want to make 8, that's 64 ones that you want to make. So you just need a stack of these and done, you make 8 of these. You can repeat it, you just don't need to do it one. So you made 8 of these mana crystals, which you can fill and charge. You can charge them with a pedestal charging or holding it in your hand and right clicking to charge. Right, you made all 8 of these. You can make the mana crystal by using 8 and something called the mode of magic. Now the items are the rituals are getting really important here. So the mode of magic, I'm not gonna do it, it's just simple. You need to do the formation. So this one, you need to do it. So that's the 1, that's the 3, 3, that's 7 by 7. So you need to do the 7 by 7, right click it, the center with the Ventium, and it will tell you what items you need. You can save it in the stack after it and repeat, because you would want to have one for each mode. So I'm not gonna keep doing these because it's a very simple way to make them, but you just need. And some of them have requirements. So like for example, the mode of fire, it requires you to be in the nether, for example, right? So it's different thing, but everything you want to find specific things about it, it will be always in the book. So mode of fire, for example, if you need if you want these are different modes that will give you different things. So the fire one here, and each one, the ritual series. So this ritual on wind mode, and it will tell you specification on each one. So here this one is the ocean, water, ritual of the deep ocean. Everything will tell you differently, right? Now you've made the modes, which will be very important for you to make. You made the mana crystal. Now you can ease your way around your house and use this magic to around your house. You can already use the magic to break things. You can help yourself. Alright, so you made all of that. Now let's talk about the next thing that you want to make, which is something called rune smithing. Now rune smithing is one of the tedious things to make early on, but your life will be easy after. So to make a rune smith, you want 3 items. So you want a rune smith staple, right? Stone, jungle, walk, everything that you already know. Then you want to make a chisel and a hammer. You made all of these. You want to make something called an unfired rune plate. You take all of you take the unfired one and turn it into a rune pattern by putting it into a fort. Now you have the pattern, you put it here, right? And you can use that pattern to make different patterns that you will need early on. So let's say, for example, one of the things that you want to make early on is a mark, which we'll get into why you will need to make these marks. So the mark, the way it works, so you see it's 1, 2, 3. So you need to eyeball it, and then 1 to 3. So it has here 1, 2, and 3. So, and then look again. You can even, like, you can just go here, mark pattern, and then right click it here just to have it next to you if you want. That will help. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say 1, 2, 3, and then 4. I think I'm doing it right, not exactly certain. 1, 2. Oh, I made it too long. Now I've made it too long. I failed. Just it goes away. You make another one here. So how many? That's 1, 2, and 3. Yes, 1, 2, and 3. So this one here, 1, 2, and 3. I think this is the right way for it. Yep, and I got the rune. I got the pattern. I made the rune. Now the next thing is how to turn it into an actual rune. So you will need to make a runic anvil. So runic anvil, purified dust, anvil, all of these items, and you put it. Now here comes the part where you will need the rune forge to make new items. So if I go here and search for something like the mark, for example, that you want to make, and I'll tell you why this mark is essential. The mark will tell you it needs mark, superheated Ventium ingot, and you smash it 10 times to make it. So superheated Ventium ingot, that's the tier 1. So that you get the normal Ventium and you can superheat it to make the superheated Ventium ingot. So if I get one of these superheated and I get myself a hammer and the mark, I put the mark, put the superheated Ventium, and smash, smash, smash. You can hear the sound of me smashing it. Now I made it. I right clicked one more time. Now I made something like the mark. So these battles are gonna be hard, but there's easy ways for you to automate it later on. So right now, if I have the mark, and the mark pattern doesn't break from instantly. It's like a live thing that they added. It used to break instantly, I think. Right now you made that. Now you've made the rune forge, you know how to make runes. The next thing after that, I think it's a little bit advanced, but I will talk about it, is something called the construct. So you can construct yourself as like something called a construct. It's a simple automation way to automate things. So the way that you construct something is that you will need, you see these guys, that's what you're gonna construct. So you need something called a construct workbench here. So you make your construct workbench simple, glyphs here, some crimson steam. Wait 1 second. So you have like wood, whatever wood you can get, any of these items, whatever you can get your hand on, depending on what place you lived in, and you can make it. And we also will need something black crystal. This is crystal. So this is crystal, you just need 8 of them. So it doesn't matter what color, you can put any dye here, there's all the different colors, and you need to set it up with the bench here and 8 of these around it. These 8 have to be within 5 blocks with it. It doesn't matter where it is, if it's on the ceiling, if it's on the wall, anything, it doesn't matter. Now you made that. How to construct? So you construct this guys from different parts. You want a head. So at tier 2 you can make only 2 things, either a head made of stone or a head made of wood. So the best part about it is that if you make heads made from wood, you do not need patterns, so it won't be hard for you to make other patterns, and then when you make them, you can help you. So, or if you make them from something like it, you will need a head frame, so you'll need a frame to make the head. So you put all of them. I'm just gonna use a stone one just because I feel like they look cooler. But the first one I would advise you to make is one that has a hammer. That one has a hammer. Left arm, for example, hammer, and we're gonna get into all of these. And a chisel. How do you? Yes. So you need a chisel hand. Actually, I don't think there is a chisel. Yeah, okay, that wouldn't be necessary. So a grabber hand would do the trick. So left arm. What arm did I have? Never make the same arm. Make sure that you make 2 different arms. So all of these have like these different. All of these here are the 5 bars that you want to make. So you want to make these 5 bars. So as you can see here. And I'd advise you to make wood at the early on. I'm just using stone because it looks cooler, and each part will just need the frame for it. But in wood, since you're making wood bars, it won't need frames if you make the basic things. If you make harder things, it will need frames, right? So that's like a good thing early on, because since you're putting this guy in the house. So you put the 5 bars that you have, okay, and then now you can give it affinities. So we never talked about affinities, which we'll talk about, but every spell that you use has different affinities. As you can tell it by basic ways, and you can look at it from an Oculus, for example, the affinities that you have here. So you have the wood, you have the magic, the earth, the fire, the wind, the water, and the dark ones, right? So I want a wind one, and I'll tell you why I want to make a wind one. So you want a spell that has to be a throwable spell. So you can just do touch or projectile, doesn't matter, and I would put fling, for example. So if you throw a spell on these crystals, you can take the affinity from it. So you need 8 affinities. So you can make a mixture, but I'm making wind early on because wind gives speed, and I want them to be. I want these people, the construction that I made with speed, and if I right click it with an empty hand, it will make me the construct. Okay. So now this is a little bit advanced, I know that, but it's a very essential thing to make, and if you understand how to make them, it's very simple. Now how to use them, right? So here comes the fun part about it, right? So if you make a rod here, and it's called the construction rod, right? So this rod you can make, and that's how you can construct these guys. So simply you can, if I right click one here, I can just simply make it do simple command like follow me or something like that, right? Now if I want to make an advanced command, I need to make something called the lodestone. To make the lodestone, here you see it's a little bit expensive here, and so some obsidian, gems, and gold. Now you made the lodestone. Now you made the lodestone, you can right click it, it will see has this cool command. So for example, this guy, I have this guy to be the one that is gonna forge for me. So if I give it like a pattern like this and superheat it, I can make it do everything. But I'm, for example, I'm making it do a simple thing. I'm telling it go here. Alright, so did the go, hit that, do the forge for me, and come back and stop the automation. Right? So the way that something like that you do is that by clicking here on the lodestone, and he's gonna close. So by clicking on the lodestone, you have the different thing. So take item, remove item. It's simple. You just need to think about the commands in your head. What do you want it to do? Right? Now it has two things. First of all, you want to give it a mark. The mark is how you tell it where to go. So if I told it to go Smith here, right? But it doesn't know which place. So if I take a mark and sneak right click, that will take the place into that mark. So now this is the location, right? So I wanna so now here's the part where I tell you these guys are gonna be very useful. So if I go to something like runesmith, and doing it by your hand is very hard, but if I put a runesmith here and script rune, and I tell it go where, so here, so I took this place and I right click and I put the rune. Now I need to make the pattern that I want it to make. So how to make these patterns, right? So these patterns that you want to make are so essential to get, but they're not easy to get. So these patterns you get them from the villagers here, and it has to be that red villager. Hopefully didn't leave. I don't know if I can force it. I've never actually tried to force it, but if you, let's actually try to force it right now. So like, let's say I want the guy for patterns, so it would make sense if the villager would. So the villager has like a red coat, and then he was here early on, but I forgot where he went. Will you? Yep. Okay, good. So I can force it. That's simple. So this guy will give you different things. So here, for example, it will give you a torso. So if I get him some emeralds, emerald, can't type emerald. Okay. So if I give him some emeralds here, I can take from him the different patterns that he can give me. So he gave me the patterns that I want. Okay, so right now I have my dude here. So if I go here, if you just right click this guy and right click him once, you can see. Also there's like one item that you can always make. It's called a diagnostication rod. Yeah, so you can see what is going through their head. If you right click them, it will tell you. So it's like I put the rune into the pattern. So if I go here, so I just want to do like a simple thing, right? Just remove all of that. So I tell him to go to this position. I right click, I took one of the mark, right click the position, and I put the pattern in. That's in the script, and he's gonna go here and do the thing. So if I put a frame for him, oh no, that's a bad frame. They just throw all of these inside here and get a brand new frame, for example, and I put a frame for him. He is gonna start doing it. So that's like the smallest thing. You can go even further, you can automate things and do it, but I'm just doing like simple things. Like you can do a simpler thing where, like, for example, just so you don't have this guy always there, it doesn't really matter, but you can, for example, go here and make an activation block, for example, and put it here. But actually he's gonna hold it in his hand for the whole time. So they just tell him to put the item. No, he won't take it, so no, so just yeah, let's remove that activation block. Let's take this and put it here. So when he's done smithing this thing, you can see just doing it, and he's gonna go right click that, so it will stop him from working. Now he stopped. So if you want to repeat the process, you right click the lever again, and you can see him do the pattern you want. That's if you want, and you can always keep changing patterns as long as you have the pattern for it. Alright, so you managed to make your constructs, and you've done everything that you need to do in this tier, so you can now upgrade. So you made all of these items to construct thing. The only thing that we didn't actually do anything about, which is the spells of tier 2, but I won't be talking about the new spells. You're always gonna get new spells, and it will be cool. I'll try to do a demonstration around at the end of the mod where show you what cool things you can do. Now if I go here and complete the progression for myself, so like I want to set my magic into level 45. I think that's what level you want me to be. Level magic 30. Okay, so it's okay, and I wanna complete the progression. Now I complete. Now I can advance. Now here comes one of the things that you want to do, which is a ritual. So it tells you do a ritual of the Withered Council, the Burning Hills, or the Fairfire, or the Good. So this is the point where you actually already did everything in the mod. You almost done so much in the mod. You understand how to do everything. Now you want to choose a faction. So when in choosing a faction, all the other factions will hate you, and only that faction you pick will like you, and you can only make things from that faction. So if I show you, for example, in this build, and you can already see that from early on. So like, let's say for example for sorcery, you see in tier 2 you can use all of the sorcery, but in tier 3 some have icons. So these icons are basically what the factions you are picking. So here's the faction for arcane. It will do arcane damage. Here is decoy, here is night vision, here is shield, right? And there's another one, shield. So there's the demonic one, there's the cold one, and everything. And also some of these factions, when you actually try to do the rituals, so for a different ritual, they might have some things that you want to do. So some will test you, so the arcane one will want a spell for them and stuff like that. So let's say I want to show you just any of these spells. So let's say I'll go for the cold one, since it's the newest one and everything. So the cold one, it's a 9x9 here. So let's get a chalk here and do this one quickly. So here 1 2 3 and 1 2 3, then we have 1 2 1 2, and then 1 2 3 1 2, then we have 1 1, and then he went up 1 2 1, then he went 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 1, then he went in the middle 1 1, then he went 1 2 1 1 1. All right, and then we get some Ventium, and I'm doing all of this just to show something quickly. So we want some dust. It's just the reason I'm trying to skip things in this mod. It's like a huge mod, but I still want to make it into one video. So if I right click with an empty hand, since I'm in creative, it just will automatically put the items that I need. Some here will need like mote of dark, which you will need to do the ritual for. All right. Okay, I think I have put all of the items. If I right click with some Ventium dust here in the middle, but see, if you forget something, it will right click, it will just take all of the items and highlight the one item that you did. So right click in the middle. So here mana, so I want the Manaweaving wand, and I know I'm not showing you the ritual, but I need a wand here. Yeah, right, so here. So now we got the wand. Let's just remove that pin. So as you can see, because it will start doing these lights, it's basically how the ritual works. So all of them are gonna be like this. Some of them will do this, so it will need some shapes for the effect to happen. So let's do the effect, and let's do the effect. Let's do the effect here, and I think that will be the last one, maybe? No, okay, this has to be the last one. All right, yep, that's the last. So it will do this. So the cold one, for example, is as the ritual complete, a heavy stone coffin mortar is in front of you. Dare you to climb in. That's how you do it. And when you do it, the death, whatever thing, it will come to you, and it will test you to do that. Since I'm in creative, I don't get affected. But if you're actually gonna do it, see, and you get, as you see at the top left, my mana looks green, and I have the cold one. Now I can use things from the cold faction, and I have upgraded to tier 3. As you can see, I'm in tier 3 now. Now let's just talk about things quickly, because right now at this point you genuinely understand everything in the mod. Nothing is new to you except few things. So the first thing I just want to show you quickly is that you can make an armor in tier 2. That armor is very simple. You make from Manaweaving, and you can see you just need some runes. So that's why I talked about runes first. You need some runes to make, and you can make the armor, and the armors here are different. So you need a set to make the armor work. So here it gives you maximum mana and maximum mana regen. It's a very weak armor, as you can see, but you can still enchant it and put yourself some protection. And then after that, which wasn't introduced in the mod, these are new cool things, is the fact that you can, these items that, by the way, your armor doesn't break, you can always fix it with a needle. So a Ventium needle is what you fix it with, right? And then you have different armor sets which got introduced with the mod, and these armor sets are from your own faction. So each faction has their own armor which does something creative to their own thing, right? So one of the things that also you want to know about is something called enchanting, which is the way that you enchant in this mod is also with runes. So let's say you want to make any enchant that you want. Where is the enchanting? Enchant any enchant you want. So you can do beheading, since it's something you already know. So you just need to make the rune for beheading, the shape for it normally, and then with Manaweaving you make that thing, and then you use the runic anvil to implement it into the spell. Now the new things that come with the mod, other than the fact that you can enchant with this new, is something called aura. So you can have an aura of something and you place it on your item, and this aura will do a specific thing. So the aura of mining here will typically drain mana in order to apply an increased mining speed. Each aura is different, each aura will give you something. So you've done that. You now look at this thing. Now the mod starts to actually tell you to do different things. So like the same things that you already know is that, like the different quests that they will ask you to do is like simple things. It's like cantrip, ritual, and things. So which is the new things, and it will also tell you to craft something like the orb and the anvil and all of these things. These are simply things that are in tier 3, which if I show you here, you open new things. If you notice, there's more things, and one of them is called artifact. So these artifacts are things that you make here to help you. So there is one of the orbs, which is this one of the orbs here is that this orb is one of the coolest items I like, but it's very hard. You need to reach the end to make, and this orb is just, you put it above you and it keeps shooting down enemies around you. And these artifacts, which I will not talk about how to make artifacts because I don't want to spoil the mod for you. I want you to enjoy the mod. I just want to show you how to reach these levels, or how to start your journey, so you can enjoy the mod on your own. And now in tier 3, as you notice, it will actually challenge you. So you want to summon the wither. You don't need to kill it, and reach the nether and do something. You finished tier 2, it will tell you to do advanced by completing the ritual again. So it's the same ritual. So I would recommend when you do the ritual once to save up the ritual with the pouch, so you can do the same ritual because it's the same ritual. And since you started the faction, you continue to this faction, right? And then you've reached level 2. You've done level 2, I mean 3. So you can level up yourself to tier 4. So in tier 4, it won't tell you that, it won't do anything new. So all the things that you can reach is just higher tiers of all things, and make a little bit of upgrades to yourself. So you can upgrade your furnace to something called the brimstone furnace, which is you get a brimstone charm here, like this one. So like all of these items are simply made with the Manaweaving wand, and you just need different things. And this is the greater mode, which you will require a greater mode ritual, so it will require things from you. And if you get the brimstone, right click, it will make you this one, which is a faster version. Alright, so you've managed to reach tier 4, you managed to make the items. It will just reach higher complexity and the item. Now you can make all of these things, and it will dare you to make even harder things, which kill the dragon and do things. And then you finally complete, and it will tell you to do the same thing with the same faction. So once you pick a faction, you stick with the faction, and then you reach tier 5. Now the second you reach tier 5, there will be no more tests because you have reached the maximum tier. But you've reached the maximum tier, meaning that you can make items from each tier. So right now you used to only make items from tier 1, which is the mana. You can see all of the items that you can make from the Manaweaving altar here, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5. Now in tier 5, there is gonna be always these items that are different, items that are from your specific faction, which will help you be stronger. So some of the items here, there is the arcane crown, there is the hell one for the demonic ones, and there is different items to each thing. That also goes with the sorcery. You will always get more spells, but some of the spells will be only focused to your faction, okay? And same thing goes for the construction, same thing goes for the enchanting. The thing that the mod itself is, after tier 2 you don't actually get introduced to harder mechanics or anything. It just becomes that you just do the same thing, but the item cost is harder, but you get to make cooler things. So and when you hit, for example, this tier, if you, for example, the cold one will give you it will give you the armor, which is the skull armor. Man, wait, so the skull armor, for example, is this one. I'm just gonna show you the armor, and then after that I will start showing cool things that you can create with the mod. Alright, so this is, for example, the cold armor. This one is the death one, the death faction. Alright, okay, so right now you simply know everything about the mod. You know how to make everything, you know how to advance, you know how to craft everything. You just simply follow the instructions that you find in the book and you will know anything, right? So now I'm gonna go and show you some of the cool items in the mod. But if you don't want to get spoil the things for you, so you can just skip the items demonstration. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk about is the affinities, the roots, and the grimoires, and how to enhance our sorcery spell. So the first thing is the root. Is the more you use a spell, the more you understand it, use it a lot, make it into root, becomes stronger. Same thing goes for the affinity. Use an affinity. So if you use a specific thing like lightning, that goes for the arcane. If you use like wind, that goes for the wind. Fire for the fire, and same thing goes. And you don't want to spread your build on a lot of things, so you want to focus on one thing. And then lastly is the grimoire. So how you hold more spells in it, right? So to make the grimoire, you use it from the Manaweaving one, right? You spawn it from the shapes that it tells you. So if I make a triangle here, normal triangle, and then I misclicked, a normal triangle and an upside one. I made a mistake here. What am I doing? Now that will make, I actually changed it. I played around in it. So if I make here, I'll just make the grimoire for your actual faction, which is the hardest thing. It's a square and a circle here. Right now I made the strongest, the one for my faction. This is the one for the arcane, since I'm in the arcane faction, right? So like you can set, it says here your arcane. So this one will make you one for your own faction, which makes it strong, right? Now if you try to do this, it won't be the same shape because it's harder. Now the thing is that you can change what you have on. So first thing, you don't have to have three. You can have it, you can make it into only 2 if you want by changing, and then you can change the shapes into something easy. There's also one more trick about it, which is if you go to the cantrip and you put a spell here, you can change the shapes for it. Can be blank and make it into like an easy idea that you can always have a spell. So you don't actually have to use your Grimoire switcher. You can use the Manaweaving wand for it. And that's how to do it. So you have like the blank abilities that goes for it, and then you can choose 3 abilities, and then these 3 abilities will be the modifiers won't be applied. It says here, so put a spell here and cast it when you perform the Manaweaving combo. Okay, so that's how you make grimoires, affinities, and use your Manaweaving. Alright, so now let's talk about the spells that we can do. So first thing out of the bat, I want to show you one of the coolest things you can make. So every faction can make you very cool items in higher tier. One of the things that is not faction based is something called the orb, the Eldritch orb, and this one of these orbs is basically you charge it, and as if it stays around you, it will hit mobs around you. So it's like a cool way of like having a protection, and you don't even need to use yourself, right? Okay, now let's talk about some of the spells that we have here. So I have here, I made some of the spells. I didn't make a lot of spells, but I just made some of the cool spells. One of the cool spells that I get, and this one you get from the wizard faction, is that you can give turn objects into entities that will assist you, and you can basically have an army here. So like if I want to, actually wrong spell, if I want I can make an army here, and this army will assist me in my fight. So like if I make summon a zombie here, for example, go just imagine turning a Minecraft block into a thing that fights a zombie for you. Isn't that like the funniest thing ever? That has to be one of the coolest things you can make as a summoner, right? Let's say another spell is, let's say a smite explosion that comes from the sky. Let's do it on this guy. Deals a lot of damage since I have a lot of modification on it. And by the way, this is damage just straight up from the modification of the spell. There's so many modifications you can give it to. There's something called a mana shield that you can get from this one, and it puts a shield on you that makes your defense even better. And one of the cool mechanics also you can get into from the wizard clan is that you can summon. So if you kill a mob with having this crystal with you, it will get the essence of that mob, and then I can summon it again and use it. So I have like lightning on it, so it's kind of makes it, I hit it the first second it spawns, but you can make something cooler. Like I put smite just to show it, but you have your army of different things, and that's basically it. Like Mana and Artifice is such a cool big mod that allows you to do everything you want, and it has so much potential. And I hope I made a cool video for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy this video, leave a like, comment down if you have any questions about the mod. I'll gladly answer it, and see you in the next video. Bye.